Three friends at the orphanage were playing a casual basketball game, shooting hoops and enjoying themselves, when a gang of bullies led by Ox rudely interrupted them. Kelvin, one of the friends, challenged Ox to a one-on-one game and bet his jersey. Sadly, he lost and the bullies tore his jersey apart. The orphanage director, Mr. Beidelman, often made the kids sell chocolate bars outside the Los Angeles Knights stadium. It didn't feel fair, but it gave them a chance to watch the game on a big screen. When the team started losing, fewer people bought chocolate, so Mr. Beidelman got mad and punished the kids by taking away their TV time. Kelvin tried to cheer up the Knights coach by offering him a chocolate bar. The coach was surprised to see a young kid working so late and bought one for $20. Kelvin hesitated to take the money, unsure if it really went to help the orphanage like Mr. Beidelman said. The coach was impressed by Kelvin's honesty and gave him free tickets to an upcoming game. Back at the orphanage, Ox made fun of the idea that older kids like them could ever get adopted, saying that people only wanted babies. Sister Teresa came in with a box of donated items, including a pair of old sneakers. Kelvin tried them on and they fit perfectly. He saw the letters MJ on them and wondered if they might have belonged to Michael Jordan. But Ox just laughed, called the sneakers junk, and threw them onto a power line. That night, Kelvin couldn't sleep, so he decided to get the sneakers back. Reggie and Murphy went with him as he climbed a tree during a storm to reach them. Just as Kelvin grabbed the shoes, lightning struck the pole, and it seemed like the sneakers were suddenly charged with something special. The following day, Ox found out Kelvin had tickets to the Knights game and threatened to tell Mr. Beidelman. To stay out of trouble, Kelvin gave Ox a few extra tickets. At the game, the Knights were losing by 12 points and the team was struggling with money. During halftime, there was a lottery that gave one lucky fan the chance to play one-on-one against Tracy Reynolds, the team star. To everyone's surprise, Kelvin's ticket was picked. Ox tried to steal it, but Kelvin outsmarted him and proudly walked onto the court. To cheers from the crowd, Kelvin grabbed the microphone and gave a fun, light-hearted speech that made everyone smile. Wearing the special sneakers, he tied them tight and shouted, "I want to be like Mike," before stepping onto the court. To everyone's shock, Kelvin made a perfect three-pointer and then dunked the ball, hanging from the rim with a huge smile. The crowd went wild, clapping and cheering. Meanwhile, Mr. Beidelman was so focused on his chess game that he missed the whole thing. After the game, Frank came up to Mr. Beidelman and offered $5,000 to let Kelvin sign a one-day contract with the Knights. At first, Beidelman wasn't interested, but when the offer went up, he gave in. Kelvin was beyond excited, sure that the sneakers had magical powers. But Ox overheard everything and started to get suspicious. In the locker room, Kelvin apologized to Tracy and was given his official team uniform, complete with the sneakers. But he soon realized that he wasn't really expected to play. His role was just a publicity stunt to bring in more fans. During the game, the Knights kept falling behind. While sitting on the bench, Kelvin suggested a smart play during a timeout. The coach was impressed by how sharp Kelvin's idea was and, to everyone's surprise, decided to put him in the game. But Kelvin wasn't wearing his magical sneakers. Nervous, he stepped onto the court but avoided dribbling the ball. He quickly called a timeout, pretending he needed to use the bathroom, and ran to the locker room to change into his special sneakers. Kelvin comes back into the game feeling more confident and quickly makes an impact. He pulls off an amazing move that closes the gap in the score. Channeling the spirit of Air Jordan, he scores the winning points. Before an away game, Mr. Beidelman tells Kelvin that, based on the contract, he is now Kelvin's legal guardian while Kelvin is with the Knights. This means Kelvin can't be adopted anymore. On the team's flight, the coach asks Tracy to share a room with Kelvin, hoping it will help them become friends. But Kelvin's constant energy and silly behavior quickly annoy Tracy. When Tracy leaves the room, he tells Kelvin to order room service. Excited to hear it's free, Kelvin orders way too much food, more than he can eat. When Tracy comes back to the room with a date, he's upset to see that his guest is more focused on Kelvin, who has eaten way too much. Kelvin says sorry for stealing Tracy's attention and shares that neither of them has parents. That night, Kelvin's loud snoring keeps Tracy awake. The next morning, a tired Tracy gets even more frustrated when Kelvin casually tells the coach they didn't get back to the hotel until 1:30 a.m. Even with all his wild behavior, Kelvin lifts the team's spirits and helps the players grow closer. He becomes the star of the Los Angeles Knights, winning the hearts of fans. Even NBA players who used to make fun of him now ask for his autograph. With the money he's made, Kelvin buys electric scooters for the kids at the orphanage. But his growing fame makes Ox jealous, and he starts planning to steal the magical sneakers again. Meanwhile, Mr. Beidelman sees Kelvin as his ticket to success and becomes more controlling. Tracy, dealing with his own problems, refuses to take Kelvin along when he goes to the pharmacy to get allergy medicine and sleeping pills. Another teammate explains that Tracy has been acting distant because of issues with his own father. During the car ride, Kelvin talks about Tracy's dad and says how much he wishes he had a father. At the pharmacy, a flirty pharmacist distracts Tracy, and he accidentally takes sleeping pills instead of allergy medicine. Tracy passes out while driving, almost missing the midnight curfew, which would have kept him out of the game. Avoiding disaster, they make it just in time. The next morning, Kelvin is benched for taking risks, but Tracy, now realizing that Kelvin actually saved him, thanks him for what he did. During their flight, Tracy helps Kelvin get over his fear of the dark and helps him study for an upcoming geometry test. Later, Murphy tells Kelvin that some potential adoptive parents have come, but they're only interested in him, not any of the other kids. Kelvin then finds out that Beidelman lied about the contract just to block his adoption. The troublemakers tell Kelvin that people only want to adopt him because he's famous. They promise to find him the perfect parents, but the people they bring in are a strange mix. Actors, soldiers, hippies, Rosarians, and other quirky types. In the end, they say Kelvin would probably be happier staying at the orphanage with his friends. Later on, Kelvin visits Tracy's mansion and is amazed by how fancy it is. Feeling overwhelmed, he vents to Tracy. His friend is mad at him. The potential parents were a letdown, and he's sure he'll fail his upcoming geometry test. Tracy comforts him, saying the right parents will show up eventually, and encourages him to make things right with his friend. For the geometry test, Tracy offers to help him study. To make it easier, he draws diagrams on the walls using basketball plays to explain the concepts in a way Kelvin can understand. The study session turns into a fun paint fight, and just as they're finishing up, Murphy arrives in a cab. Kelvin jokes with Tracy, asking for $49.50 to pay the almost full fare. Amused and inspired by the lesson, Murphy says he wants to learn geometry too. With Kelvin's help, the Knights are now just 2 wins away from making the playoffs. If they succeed, the whole team could earn bonus money and endorsement deals. Murphy suggests that maybe Kelvin doesn't need new parents, that Tracy should adopt him instead. But Kelvin decides to focus on helping Tracy fix things with his own father. Taking matters into his own hands, Kelvin brings Tracy's dad to a press conference. But Tracy gets upset and tells them both to leave. The team, feeling disconnected, falls apart in their next game and suffers a big loss against a rival team. Even so, a kind and wealthy family shows interest in adopting Kelvin, which worries Beidelman. He secretly talks to Ox about the magical sneakers, admitting that they really do have special powers. Beidelman then convinces Kelvin that the new family might not be right for him and talks him into switching out his old magical sneakers for a new, ordinary pair. Growing suspicious of Beidelman's intentions, Kelvin gives his magical sneakers to Murphy for safekeeping. Murphy tries them on and excitedly shouts, "I want to be like Mike!" But when he jumps, the sneaker's power throws him off balance. Soon after, Beidelman and his goons confront Murphy. They scare him, even burning a photo of his mother, until he finally gives up where the sneakers are hidden. Meanwhile, Kelvin creates a scene while dining with the wealthy family, causing chaos at the table. Confident that Kelvin will fail without the sneakers, Beidelman places a $100,000 bet on the Raptors. Despite the dinner disaster, the wealthy family tells Kelvin they'll finalize the adoption the next day, making him officially a Boyd. Just then, Tracy, having made peace with his father, comes to talk to Kelvin. But when he sees the Boyd family with him, he leaves. Murphy calls Kelvin in a panic, telling him the sneakers are locked in Beidelman's safe. Realizing they're not in his bag, Kelvin steals a vehicle and rushes back to the orphanage. As the game begins, Kelvin gathers the orphanage kids and they team up to ambush and tie up Beidelman, demanding the code to the safe. Ox steps in, and even though Beidelman begs for help, Kelvin reminds Ox that he's part of their team, not Beidelman's. Offended at being called an idiot by Beidelman, Ox switches sides and reveals he memorized the safe's combination. Kelvin grabs his sneakers, and the kids race toward the stadium on scooters. Meanwhile, Beidelman contacts the bookmaker, who sends men to stop the kids from reaching the game. Just as Kelvin drops his sneakers during the rush, Murphy, who had fallen behind, shows up just in time to save the day. Near the stadium entrance, Beidelman tries to stop Kelvin from getting through, but Kelvin knocks him out by throwing a scooter at him. When Kelvin runs onto the court, the Knights are already losing by 21 points. But as soon as the crowd sees him, they explode in cheers. Tracy convinces the coach to let Kelvin play, and once the miracle kid is in the game, the Knights begin to close the gap fast. Then, during a wild play, Kelvin's magical sneakers ripped apart. He turned to Tracy and admitted that all his success had come from the sneakers, not from his own talent. But Tracy didn't let him spiral. He told Kelvin there was no time for doubt and encouraged him to focus and believe in himself. Inspired by Tracy's faith in him, Kelvin gives it everything he has. During a timeout, he informs the team that this would be his last game. He is ready to go back to being a regular kid. Without his magical sneakers, Kelvin struggles at first, but he uses his quick thinking and creativity to help the team score the winning 2 points, sending the Knights to the playoffs. Even though Kelvin is proud of the victory, he feels a little sad, knowing he might never see his teammates again. Meanwhile, Tracy is thrilled that Kelvin has finally found a family, but the wealthy Boyd's family, who were waiting in the parking lot to take Kelvin home, were left behind, because Kelvin chose to return to the orphanage instead. Back at the orphanage, Kelvin told Ox that the best part of his journey wasn't the fame or the games. It was the all-you-can-eat hotel feasts. To everyone's surprise, Tracy showed up at the orphanage with the entire Knights team. He announced that they would now sponsor the home. After the big game, Beidelman vanished under mysterious circumstances, with rumors swirling that he had failed to pay off his gambling debts. As Kelvin and Tracy grew closer, Murphy felt a sting of jealousy. But in a heartfelt twist, Tracy decided to adopt both Kelvin and Murphy, making their dreams come true. And in time, even Reggie found a loving family of his own. If you did enjoy our recap, do give us a thumbs up and share. See you on the next one.